Hello everybody. So today I want to discuss my experience and journey doing the carnivore diet for an entire month. I've always been very interested in what it would be like to derive my dietary advice from random anecdotes online, charlatans, and poor self-selected survey data. Of course, as opposed to the totality of evidence on the topic of nutrition science. I started listening to various podcasts from people who make various claims without actually citing evidence. For example, plants are all trying to kill us. Evolution, yeah. My doctor and dietitian both advised me to not do the carnivore diet, as my goal was to lose weight, and apparently it's possible to lose weight without restricting yourself from nearly every food group. But I decided to not listen to them because it's very clear that every food group besides meat is trying to kill me. Again, I learned this from a podcast. Some guy said it or something. Evolution. So this diet is the most natural diet I can be on, mainly because the animals I'm eating have been artificially bred, and the nutrients from them are very bioavailable from an evolutionary perspective. That's also ancestral evolution. Some people mention to me that foods like Huel are actually more nutrient dense than red meat. But to that I say, that stuff's just not natural, and I continue to consume my artificially bred animal that's been pre-packaged. Sorry for the ramble, let's just talk about my experience now. So this is me before my carnivore diet, and this is me after. The first thing I noticed was that I turned as red as a tomato, and since plants are trying to kill us, and I started to resemble a tomato, and a tomato is a plant, I became very worried that my body may end up trying to kill me. This led me to hire a carnivore coach for about $9,000 per month. I hired them so they could just, help me structure my diet. I didn't realize how much I needed this coach until I saw just how in-depth the meal plan he supplied me with was. Just check this out real quick. So for breakfast, I have meat, and then lunch, I have meat, and then during dinner, I have meat. I couldn't have navigated through this really intense and in-depth diet without my $9,000 a month carnivore coach, so I'm super thankful to him. There was actually a point where I was losing weight a bit too fast. So during one of my $9,000 a month Skype calls with my carnivore coach, he told me something that I really just couldn't think of on my own, and it was to eat more meat. This very deep and complicated advice was just a reminder of why I'm paying him $9,000 per month. This isn't stuff you could just learn in school. It's stuff he learned through experience. So 3 days into this very in-depth coaching, I actually dropped my dietitian who kept telling me that my LDL cholesterol is extremely high. Over time, friends of mine gravitated away from me because apparently I just smelled like shit. I stopped using hygiene products because they have like chemicals or something. I actually started to just bathe in butter instead. My skin became so smooth, but friends continued to just gravitate away from me. I'm not really sure why to this day. I did eventually realize, however, that when I was around my friends, I was constantly just shitting myself. When I consulted my carnivore coach about this, he reassured me that I'm just getting rid of all the toxins in my body from my previous diet. I actually shit myself during this Skype call, and I let my coach know, and he said, "Congratulations on getting those toxins out." Out of just pure gratitude for his absolute wisdom, I decided to start paying him $15,000 a month instead of $9,000. I mean, just because, he was helping me so much here. My carnivore coach was actually more red than me. So I asked him, since you're more of a tomato than me, is your body trying to kill you because, plants are trying to kill us? He said, yeah. So I discovered that my carnivore coach was actually a tomato trying to kill himself. What interesting information. So as I continued this diet, my dietitian started to send me all of this research supporting the consumption of fruits and vegetables in our diets. But I learned from my favorite carnivore charlatan podcasters that all that research is just epidemiology. I also learned that epidemiology is garbage regardless of the result, and that it's not even science. I then found the same carnivore influencer who said this start to cite epidemiology as a credible source. So I ended up learning from this that epidemiology is only good when it supports my views. This is just one example of one of my favorite carnivore influencers guiding my epistemic standards to a very consistent place. About a week into the diet, I started to feel terrible, but I was reassured in various carnivore forums online that this was just my body getting rid of all the toxins from the fruits and vegetables I've been eating my whole life. So not only was my shitting myself getting rid of a bunch of toxins, but also my feeling like shit every single day. So at this point, I'm walking around feeling like shit, shitting myself, and inconsistently accepting epidemiology. I'm not sure about you, but I would say at this point I was peaking in life. Now, to be fair, I wasn't only feeling like shit. Some days I'd feel good, and other days I would just feel bad. My carnivore coach reassured me that this was simply just my body and its primal rhythms going up and down. He also suggested that I chant motivational mantras while I munch into steak, pretty much in order to summon the spirit of our ancestors. It seemed to work. At this point in my journey, I started to feel a giant influx of anxiety around friends at, social gatherings and parties because they were deciding to eat plant foods. I was just so stressed to know that these people were so nonchalantly killing themselves without knowing it. Everybody around me was clearly suffering from the likes of an eating disorder. Not me though, the person who was anxious around lettuce. At one of these parties, I decided to eat one cracker, just one cracker, to see how my body would respond. The next morning I woke up and my neck slightly hurt, and I knew this was the doing of the single cracker that I ate. I realized that this diet made me so alpha that I couldn't handle a single cracker. This was peak performance. When I told my carnivore coach that I ended up cheating on my carnivore diet with a cracker, he ended up getting so furious. I didn't think he could turn more red, but he turned into even more red of a tomato than he was prior. And because plants are trying to kill us, he ended up actually killing himself in the middle of the Skype call. I take this call as just another lesson that I need to be avoiding plants. To this day, I still give him $15,000 every month, even though he's dead, just because of all the wisdom he gave me over the 2 or 3 weeks I was with him. So at about 2 weeks into the diet, I got blood work done and discovered that my testosterone was that of a 90-year-old man. This worried me, and I did a little bit of research and found that maybe it's a good idea to incorporate some fruits into my diet. While I knew that every plant was trying to kill me, I decided to take the chance to see if my testosterone would go back up after consuming some plants. So I started eating 6 servings of fruit per day. My libido came back and I started to feel significantly better. So 2 weeks in, I'm still carnivore, but I have fruit every single day. And clearly, carnivores in nature eat fruit, so it still makes sense for me to call myself carnivore at this point. People continue to ask me why I identify as carnivore if I'm, eating fruit. So I pointed them to a carnivore influencer who eats cake occasionally.
Okay, someone was asking about, they were watching a video and they saw way in the background, there was a bowl of looks like bananas back there. And that's what it is, there's bananas, there's avocados in the refrigerator, there's some apples. Remember, I live in a home with 4 other people, so I'm not the only one that eats food here. So those bananas and stuff are primarily for my son and another guest that lives at the house. If I were gonna eat fruit, I'd tell you I'd eat fruit, right? I eat basically, I'll tell you what I'm eating right now. It's ribeye steak pretty much. It's a little bit of fish right now and a little bit of non-fat Greek yogurt. That's currently my diet. I've been on a carnivore diet for 7 years. Have I ever not had something carnivore? I've had a piece of cake occasionally. Yeah, so 99% of my diet is animal-based, meat-based. I don't typically eat fruit. Don't really like bananas, to be honest. So anyway, hopefully the knuckleheads that are like, ooh, you got fruit, and there's also purse back there, and there's other stuff. There's other people live here. All right, guys, you guys take care.
After showing these people this video, they were just logically destroyed. So once I was 3 weeks into this diet, I decided to start incorporating vegetables too, because I heard that it might make me feel better or something, and I wasn't feeling the best on the diet. So I added 4 servings a day. So at this point, I'm still carnivore, but I'm eating 6 servings of fruit per day and 4 servings of vegetables per day on top of the meat I'm eating. At 4 weeks in, I started to feel even better, and then added whole grains to my diet. So at this point, my carnivore diet is meat, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And I'm starting to think that this version of the carnivore diet is actually healthier than the one I started with. So because of this month-long experience, I'm actually considering starting a YouTube channel where I cover my carnivore diet filled with meat and plants. Let me know if that's something you guys would want to see. Anyway, guys, that's the end of my story of my 1-month journey on the carnivore diet. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys, maybe learned something. And if you want to try the carnivore diet, by all means, go for it. But I think that my version is a little better, the one that has like fruits and vegetables and whole grains and stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you support my work and want to get early access to it, you can click the link in the pinned comment and support me on Patreon. And if you don't know, I do have a book going over most, if not all, of the arguments against the carnivore diet. If you want to get that as well, that'll be linked in the pinned comment. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Dude.
Fuck off, I don't want anything to do with you. Don't ever speak to me again. You're a fucking piece of shit.
Even vegans don't get your weird, stupid wannabe sense of irony here. Who is your audience? Nobody gets these dumb jokes. Dude,